Alright, what's up, my friends? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud, of course. Today we're learning Daf Ches of Masechta Berachos. We are going to start the shir at, where are we going to start from? 3 lines from the bottom of Daf Zayin Amud Beis. That is our starting point for today. Today is a pretty awesome daf. It's another big one, not quite as large as yesterday's, but large nonetheless. But some great stuff, some really, really nice stuff, some cool stuff to think about, maybe, a little bit thought-provoking. So, cool stuff over here. So without further ado, let's get the show on the road. Okay, so Daf Zayin Amud Beis, 3 lines from the bottom. Amalei Rav Yitzchak le Rav Nachman. Oh, so it says Rav Yitzchak to Rav Nachman. Now, there is a Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak, so I don't know if this was Rav Yitzchak talking to his son Nachman, I'm not exactly sure, but it feels like it could be a father sort of talking to his son, because listen to the dialogue. My taima lo asimar leve knishta litzaluye. Why didn't you go to shul today? Classic. Okay. Amle lo yachilna, said I couldn't. Okay. Amle lechan f'marasa v'litzle. Well then at least gather 10 people so that you could daven with a minion. Oh gosh, I could just hear this conversation. Amle trichali milsa. So he said, it's too hard for me to get 10 people. Such a funny dialogue, right? If it's in fact a father and son, it's a very funny dialogue, right? Well, then why don't you just ask, like the Gabe at shul, that whenever they're going to daven, just lacy v'lo da'i lamar. Just ask him if he could just let you know whenever they're going to daven, so that you can just kind of show up and it'll be really easy for you, right? You don't need to wait for them to get a minion yelling at center, Asiri. Shout out to Jeff Handel, Bo Asiri. Anyways, Amalei, my kuliyai, and Rav Nachman is just like, what's the big deal? Just leave me alone. So I didn't go to shul. Who cares? So. Amalei the Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, because Rabbi Yochanan said in the name of Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, my dichsiv, what does the pasuk mean? Vanis tfilasi lecha Hashem eis ratzon, that my tefillah should be before you an eis ratzon, a time of appeasement, a favorable time. So as Rashi points out, Alma yesha sheisha ratzon, right? So we see that there is a specific time that is more appeasing to God, right? So, when is this time of appeasement? So we say that that's when a congregation is praying as opposed to a individual person. But I don't know, man. I mean, how do we know this? He's not basing it on a pasuk, right? He's just saying, I don't know. Why don't we just make up anything? When's an Eis Ratzon? I don't know. Sunday mornings. What is? I don't see the connection to a tzibor. So then Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina Amar Mehacha. So Rabbi Yossi Bar Chanina offers from here. Ko Amar Hashem be'es ratzon inisicha. So said God, at a time of ratzon, of desire, I will answer you. Okay, and I think the Mitzudas David defined be'es ratzon means at the times that you're doing the ratzon of Hashem. Okay, but still, I don't see anything there about a tzibor per se. Rabbi Acha Bar Chanina Amar Mehacha. Rabbi Acha Bar Chanina says it comes from this pasuk. Hein kel kabir v'lo yim'as. And as Rashi says, tfilas harabim lo yim'as. He won't, disgrace the prayer of many. But again, I don't see how kabir means a tzibor. So I don't really get it. It also says padav v'shalom nafshi mikaravli ki v'rabim hayu imadi. Oh, so maybe that one I could get, right? That David HaMelech says, Padav v'shalom nafshi, that he redeemed my soul in peace, mikarav li, from all the people that were fighting with me, ki v'rabim hayu imadi. Oh, because many people, so the Mitzudas David defines that pasuk as ki v'rabim hayu imadi, that I was always outnumbered, right? There was always many people up against me. So the Gemara is making a drasha, ki v'rabim hayu imadi, right? That God always saved me because I always davened b'tzibur. So I get that. Okay. It's just funny. There's a bunch of up until now, really all the agaditas that the Gemara was saying, and all the things that the Gemara was saying, and was basing it on psukim it was. I think that the connection was really much clearer in the Psukim, whereas over here, I think it was more difficult to find. Tani Namihachi, we also learn in a brayso like this. How do you know that God doesn't disgust of the prayers of many? Shene'amar hein kel kabir v'lo yim'as. And he brings that pasuk from Eov of hein kel kabir lo yim'as. Okay, usiv padav shalom nafshi mikarav li v'gomer. Right, and then there is that that God saved me because of the prayer of many. Now, the Agos Habach adds a few very helpful words. He says, "My padav shalom nafshi." What does it mean that God, saved me in peace, saved my soul in peace? Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, says Hashem, "Kol ha'osek b'Torah uv'gmilas chasadim u'mispal l'matzibor." Anybody who busies himself in Torah and in kindness, and he prays with a minyan, Male ani alav kilu pida'eni li v'levana miben umos ha'olam. Oh, so I treat it as if he has saved me and my children from among the nations of the world, which is also interesting because this is a pasuk from David HaMelech. So why is it Hashem saying that it's as if he saves me, which is also interesting. And Rashi explains that the reason why Shalom is a reference to Torah and Gemilas Chasadim is because it says V'chos nisivosea Shalom. All of the paths of Torah are peace, are Shalom. Also Gemilas Chasadim, Rashi has this fun nice little thing. If you have the Rashi over there on the side of the page, so the first in line of Rashi, Shalom, that Gemilas Chasadim is Shalom shemitoch shegomel chesed begufo lechaverav humakir shu'oavo uvalidei achva v'shalom. Because since you do kindness to your friend's like, oh wow, this guy is a great guy, and it creates a community of love and peace, and it's really, really nice. Now here comes Rish Lakish. Check this out. Amar Rish Lakish, Kol mi sheyesh lo beis hakneses be'iro ve'eno nichnas sham lespal nikra shachin. Okay, anybody who's got a synagogue in his city, but he doesn't go there to pray, so he's called a bad neighbor. Shenemar, as the pasuk says in Yirmiyah, Ko Amar Hashem al kol shochnei ara'im. Right, so the Betzudas David defines this pasuk as Ko Amar Hashem. So says Hashem al kol shochnei ara'im hanogim benachla asher enchalti es ami es Yisrael. Right, that all of the bad neighbors of Israel, and it's even to this present day we have a difficult relationship with our neighbors. Anyway, so he says any of these bad neighbors who touch the inheritance that I've bequeathed to my nation, so it says that he's going to, these people are going to find themselves kicked out of their land. Anyway, so for some reason, from this pasuk, he learns out that you're a bad neighbor if you don't go to shul. Maybe somebody could help me understand this. Again, we're bringing a lot of these psukim to kind of prove that you got to daven, you got to go to shul, you got to daven with like a tzibur and stuff. But the connection there is a little bit less strong as maybe some others. And it's interesting that we're going to see some, what Abaye says later on, which I think is interesting. So I think that there's going to be some interesting stuff to think about here about Tefillah B'tzibur and what it means, and you guys could choose what you guys think. If you guys heard in the background, that was a very inconsiderate person on a very loud motorbike. All right, very nice. So v'lo od, not only that, by not going to shul, ela shegorim galus lo levanav, he causes exile to him and his children. Shenamar hineni not sham me'alad masam. I'm going to kick them out of their land. As Beis Yehuda etosh mitocham, and I will get rid of Beis Yehuda from there. Okay, very good. Amle Rabbi Yochanan, they said to Rabbi Yochanan, Ika savi b'Bavel. This is interesting. They said to Rabbi Yochanan, hey Rabbi Yochanan. Now Rabbi Yochanan, of course, lived in Israel, right? And they said to him, there are old people in Bavel. And this was very shocking to him. He didn't get it. Tama ve'amar. He wondered, and he said, L'man yirbu yimechem v'mei ala adam aksiv. It says that you will have long lives, and your children will have long lives on the land. That, of course, referring to Eretz Yisrael. So he didn't really get, Ava b'chutz la'aretz lo. But in chutz la'aretz you won't have long life. So Kevin the Amrile Makme Umachashre Levei Knishta. But once they told him, but that's not the whole story. There's more to it, which is that they get to shul early and they leave late. So Amar, he said, Hainu de ahane lehu. I see. Yeah, that is why they merited long life. Kedamar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi livnei, as Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi said to his children, Kadimu v'chashichu v'ailu levei knishta. Go early and leave late from shul, kihechi ditarchu chayes, that you'll get a long life. Although again, the Gemara doesn't really. Okay, fine. I'm sorry. Amar Bacha Reb Chanina Mikra. So Reb Bacha Reb Chanina says, where do we have a pasuk to show this? Asher Adam Shomeali Lishkod Al Dal Sosai Yom Yom Lishmar Mezuzos Pischi Psachai. What is that? Mezuzos Psachai. Okay, so the pasuk says in Mishlei. That's interesting. Okay, so the pasuk says in Mishlei that happy is a person who listens to me to rush to my doors every single day, to guard the doorposts of my doors. So right, so somebody who comes to the Beit Knesset, it says afterwards, Ki motzi'i matzah chayim, and somebody who finds me, i.e. somebody from the previous pasuk, somebody who comes early to shul, he has found life. Okay, very cool. And we're going to see some more things that Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi told his children a little bit later today. Okay, cool. Y'all enjoying? Sweet. So a person should always walk inside of two doors in order to get to a shul, which is interesting. So you see, so in Yerushalayim, Taka, a lot of the shuls, you just go right in and you're in the shul. Although the shul behind my house, which is an old Yerushalmi Ashkenaz shul, they davka have two doors and they don't really fit. I suspect that they specifically added two doors in order to satisfy this Gemara. What do you mean? You need to have two doors, asks the Gemara? No, rather you should enter in and move in a little bit. Don't just stand right by the door. That makes it seem like it's a burden for you to be in shul. You just want to get out as soon as you can. But no, go in, find a seat a little bit closer to the front, make yourself comfortable. Okay. Oh, very good. So the pasuk in Tehillim Perek Lamed Beis says, on this every chassid will pray to you le'es mitzo. So the Mesudas David defines that at the time that he finds himself doing tshuva, zeo. But Amar Reb Chanina le'es mitzo zo isha. Oh, so Chanina says that this is a woman. I guess, I don't know, maybe if you don't have a woman, you should pray for a woman. Maybe if you have a woman, you should pray that things should be peaceful with her. I don't know, but le'es mitzo means a woman. Okay? Shenemar matzah isha matzah tov. That we see the lashon of matzah in the context of a woman, as the pasuk says in Mishlei, matzah isha matzah tov. If you found a woman, you have found good. B'ma'arava kinosiv inish itza amri lehachi matzah umotzeh. Right. So I don't know how exactly to understand. Is this like some kind of, I don't know if this is like a joke. I feel like this is like something that like old Jews kind of say as like a joke. Matzah umotzeh, ha ha ha. Like matzah isha matzah tov, or motzeh ani mami maves isha azos. But I think it could also be maybe a word of advice that some of the more experienced fellows were telling this inexperienced groom who is all starry-eyed, and they tell him, hey, dude, step out of it for a second. Be careful. Matzah or motzeh, right? Your wife could be the best thing that ever happened to you, but she could also be the worst thing that ever happened to you. So just make sure that you stay on the right side of that line. Okay. So matzah dichsev matzah isha matzah tov vayafek ratzon me'Hashem, and he invokes ratzon from God. Motzeh dichsev umotzeh ani marmi maves es ha'isha v'gomer. That's a pasuk from Koheles. So both psukim are by Shlomo HaMelech. The one was when he was a little bit younger in Mishlei. The other one was in Koheles when he was a bit older. And he says, I find this woman to be very, very bitter, more bitter than death. Okay? Rabbi Nassan Omer, Zok Rabbi Nassan, the Eis Mitzo, Zo Torah. Okay, the Eis Mitzo is a reference to Torah. Tichsev umotzeh ani, no, I just went back a line. Tichsev, Shneimar, as the pasuk says, Ki motze'ai matzah chayim. Ki motze'i matzah chayim. Okay, because he who finds me has found life. So I don't see why that is necessarily a reference that motzi'i means Torah, because actually we had this pasuk a few lines ago that was talking about somebody who gets to shul early. So why does that have to do with learning Torah? That has to do with praying. But maybe it's like we saw the other day that we kind of equate praying, and right when we saw with the minyan, right, that whenever you have 10 people, God is with them, and then we said that even when 10 people are learning, God is with them. But how do we learn learning from prayer? It could be that because in prayer you kind of evoke psukim and stuff. It's like they're kind of very similar and even equated. I guess. If somebody else has an idea, please let us know. Fine. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak Amar Le'es Mitzvah Zo Misa. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak said, Mitzvah, I guess you should always pray about death, I guess. I don't know, maybe that it shouldn't come, or I don't know, that you should pray as if you're going to die that day, as if it's your last, I don't know. Shneamar Lamaves Totzaos. Okay, very good. Okay. That this is a pasuk in Tehillim where it's David HaMelech is saying how God saves him, and he always, even though he has all sorts of ways to kill a person and to remove his soul from him, nonetheless God saves you. But he says zeo lamavis totzaos. So we use the lashon of limtzo to find by death. So therefore, le'es mitzo is a reference to death. Tanan amihachi. We also learn a verse like this: Shameus v'shlosha mine misa nivru ba'olam. There are 903 ways that you can die. Okay. Shneamar, as the pasuk says, lamavis totzaos begematria hachi havu. That it says lamavis totzaos, and if you add up the gematria, the numerical value of the letters of the word totzaot, you will find that it's 903. Kasha shebekula and askara. What is the most painful type of death? It is what's called askara, which is some kind of disease that begins in your stomach and then spreads to your throat, and you can't breathe and you strangle to death. Sounds kind of not pleasant. Nicha shebekula and nishika. And the most pleasant of them is the death by kiss, which is what Aharon and Moshe Rabbeinu, maybe Miriam as well, experienced. No, I think Miriam Dafka didn't experience it because it was not Tznias forgot to kiss Miriam, I think. Anyways, and then there's all sorts of, I guess, 901 other deaths that run the gamut from Nishika to Askara. So Askara Damra ki chizra begvava de imra de lachore nashra. So askara is similar to like if you take a thorn branch, stick it into like wool on a sheep, and then yank backwards, and you're basically going to yank out some wool with it. So that's what it's like. It's when you yank out the guy's soul when he dies, you're like pulling out all sorts of painful things during askara. Okay, so that's what it's similar like. Those say kifiture bifi veshet. It's as if you like take ropes and stick it into like an esophagus. It'll be like super tight, and then like you pull it out and it's going to be super uncomfortable. Yeah, that's like what askara is like. All right. It's as simple and as sort of what's the word? Not peaceful, but oh God, what's that word? When something is like just like very pleasant and you like soothing, maybe, I don't know, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But as taking a hair and removing it from milk. Okay, very good. Fine. I can't remember the word. Okay, now of course it's going to drive me nuts. I feel like this happens every day right now. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Le'es Mitzvah Zo Kvura. Rabbi Yochanan says that Le'es Mitzvah is the reference to burial, a person's burial. Amar Rabbi Chanina Maikra. Rabbi Chanina says, where do we have a pasuk for this? Okay, fine. Where do we have a pasuk for this? Oh man, I just lost it. Okay. Hasmechem ele gil yasisu kiyimtu cover. This is Eov being a little bit cynical after all of his experience, and he says, the people who really know how to rejoice, they rejoice about their death. That's the only thing there is to rejoice about in this terrible, awful life. Okay? Rabba bar Rav Shila, Hanadamar Inshe, Libay Inish Rachme, Afilu at Zibula Basraisa Shalma. And this is, so says Rabba bar Rav Shila, that this is what people say, that a person should always be praying, right? So a person should be praying le'es mitzo, even towards their kever, even at zibula basraisa shalma, even until the last dirt that they put on a person's grave has completed being put upon the grave. Marzutra amar le'es mitzo zebeis hakisei. Marzutra says that what's le'es mitzo? This is a bathroom. Because now he doesn't really prove it from a pasuk or anything like that. He just says like it's good to pray that you should have a good bathroom, and that was because in Bavel apparently, it's certainly not indoor plumbing, but just even basic kind of sewage was difficult, and they had to go out to the fields in order to use the bathroom, which was like especially if you have to go several times a day, it's very unpleasant. So pray that you should have a good bathroom situation. Amr b'Marava. And then in Eretz Yisrael, which is interesting because Rashi says that this was something specific to Bavel, but in Israel, Hada Marzutra Adifa Michulu, they said that with Marzutra, meaning the bathroom thing, was actually probably the best explanation for what it means. So I don't know what was the deal in Eretz Yisrael. What was the sewage situation in Eretz Yisrael? I don't know. Amalei Rav Papa l'Rafim bar Papa. So Rava said to Rafim bar Papa, Lemalon mar mehanemile ma'al yisa de amart mishmei Rav Chisda. Oh, so Rav Papa, maybe they were chilling at like Shalashudas or something, for Brengen, and Rava said to Rafim bar Papa, he said, "No, tell us something from those awesome things that you once said in the name of Rav Chisda. B'mile dvei kinishta regarding shul." Okay. Amalei. So Rafim bar Papa said, "Sure." Hachi Amar Rav Chisda. This is what Rav Chisda said. My dichsiv. What does the pasuk mean? This is a pasuk in Tehillim. It says, "Oiv Hashem Shari Tzion Mikol Mishnos Yaakov." That God loves the gates of Tzion, which typically means Tzion, Jerusalem. Mikol Mishnos Yaakov, more so than all of the dwellings of Jacob. So he says, what does it mean? Oiv Hashem Shari Hamitzuyonim Ba'alacha. That God loves the gates that are that people gather there in order to study halacha, more so than the synagogues, and even from the Batei Midrashos, which is interesting because isn't Batei Midrashos basically the same thing as Sharim HaMitzuyanim Ba'halacha, right? Place where people go to learn, but maybe there's a nafkamina. Maybe like a Shar HaMitzuyanim Ba'halacha is places where people are actually learning, whereas you can theoretically have an empty Beit Midrash, right? So meaning. What God is saying is He loves Er L'Chayid, and He loves, honest. He loves sort of, what's that word? I can't remember. So He loves kind of just like honest, straightforward, serious people who are like actually learning, even more than like shuls and Batei Midrashos and stuff like that, I guess. Okay. V'hanu da'amar Rabbi Chia bar Ami mishmei de'ula. From the day that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, the Beis Hamikdash, of course, being God's dwelling place. So once His dwelling place was destroyed, He didn't have a dwelling place ba'olam hazeh. So Ein la Kadosh Baruch Hu ba'olamo el arba amos shel halacha bavad, which is pretty awesome, right? So from the time that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, so God doesn't have a home anymore. So where is His home? His home is every little place where like a Yidla is learning Torah, even in Indonesia or wherever anybody might be. And he's there, and he makes a little Dalet Amos around him of halacha. So that is God's house. He has lots of little houses. He doesn't have one big house. V'amar Abaye, and check this out. So here's this interesting thing about Abaye. V'amar Abaye, Mereisha v'garisna b'go beisa, umatzlina b'vei knishta. Initially, I would learn at home, and I would daven in shul. Came the shaman l'hada Amar Rabbi Chia bar Ami mishmei de'ula. But once I heard the statement of Rabbi Chia bar Ami in the name of Ula, that from the time that the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed, God only has His 4 amos of halacha, where people are studying Torah, i.e., I guess that's where God's place is. I would only daven where I learn. So I don't know if that means that he started learning in the shul, or I don't know, I initially understood it to mean that he started davening in his house. No, so maybe Taka means that he davened at shul, and that way he would make sure to always be there. But I don't know, what if you daven at home? So maybe then you should be davening at home. And it almost kind of sounds like that, because this Dalet Amos Shalacha sounds like a very individualized kind of thing. Right? It says even more than the Beit Knesset and the Beit Midrash, he likes this Dalet Amos Shalacha. Although Rashi explains that as Tzion V'asifas Tzibor, place where people gather. But either way, I don't know. What do you guys think? I don't know, I kind of took it to mean like, initially I thought it meant to say that Kielu, he would daven at home because that's where he's learning. It doesn't say that he changed where he learned. It sounds more like he changed where he prayed. What do you guys think? Rabbi Amr Rabbi Asi, Alfagav Davalu Tleisa Be'Knishta B'Tiveria Lo Matzlu Ella Beinei Amudei Heicha Davlu Garse. That Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi, even though there were 13 synagogues in Tiveria where they lived, they only davened where they learned. Very, very cool stuff. Another statement of Rav Chia bar Ami in the name of Ula. Gadol hanene miyigio yoser miyirei shamayim. What does the Gos Habach say? The Gos Habach says miyigia kapo seder. This is a very cool pasuk, right? That the pasuk says let's actually read a little bit further, right? So I'm going to back up a few words. Amar b'chia bar ami mishmei de'ula gadol anena miyigio yoser miyirei shamayim. Better is somebody who benefits from his own hard work more so than somebody who fears God. De'ilu gabe yirei shamayim ksiv ashrei ish yirei es Hashem. Right? By yirei shamayim it says happy is a person who fears God. But in the context of somebody who gets benefit, who gets pleasure from his own hard work, save it says, Yigia kapecha ki sochel ashrecha v'tov lach, right? That you will work hard and eat ashrecha v'tov lach. It is happy and good for you. Ashrecha ba'olam hazeh v'tov lach la'olam haba. It is happy for you in olam hazeh, and v'tov lach is also in the world to come. It doesn't say v'tov lach. It just says ashrei ish yirei es Hashem. It doesn't say ashrecha v'tov lach. So it's maybe ba'olam hazeh, but not la'olam haba. And the Metzudas David explains Yigia kapecha ki sochel ashrecha v'tov lach in a very cool way, that better to put in the time and the effort to do something yourself, and do it right and yourself, and then you'll be able to reap all the reward. And he says that in the context of Torah, right? Work hard in Torah so that all the reward goes to you, whereas if you have to depend on other people, so then you have to divide it with them as well. But I'd imagine that you can extend this to other things as well, to just do hard work, and if you put in more hard work, and you can be able to take on more responsibility yourself, so then more of you'll be able to take a larger part of the reward. Okay, let's go weiter. Another statement of Rabbi Ami Mishmei Deula. We're on a roll because these statements have been pretty cool. A person should always live in the place of his teacher. Because as long as Shimi ben Gera was around, who I guess was his teacher. I don't know. I mean, in the context, we would assume it's his teacher, but I don't know that. So Shlomo didn't marry Basparo. And there's actually a Gemara in Nida on Daf Ayin Amud Beis that we learned a few weeks ago, before Babel Talmud officially existed. Basically, there was a story with Rabbi Yoshua ben Hanania and these elders in Alexandria, and they asked him a question, right? It says, on the one hand, the pasuk says, right, Kibach Hashem b'Tzion Iva l'Moshav Lo, right, that Hashem desired Tzion. It says in another pasuk that Tzion just infuriates God and he only wants to destroy it. What's pshat? And they said one was before Shlomo Melech married Basparo, he loved Tzion, but afterwards he only wanted to destroy it. So Shlomo Melech marrying Basparo seems to be a pretty naughty thing. Okay, fine. Veltanya al yador. But one second. But we also have a brayso that says that a person should not live in the place where his teacher lives. Lo kasha d'chayif le had lo chayif le. Depends if he's going to listen to him or not. If he's going to listen to him, so yeah, of course, by all means, it would be great if you lived in the place where your teacher lives. But if you're not going to listen to your teacher, well then, as Rashi says, right, v'hi shogeg v'al yihi mezid. Better he should do averas out of a mistake rather than to do it on purpose, having heard them from his Rebbe, so better for him to stay far away. All right, let's go weiter. Amar Huna bar Yehuda, Amar Reb Menachem, Amar Rabbi Ami. What does it mean that those who leave God will be destroyed? Sefer Torah. So the Agos Abach adds, Kishu patuach v'yotze. This is somebody who leaves a Sefer Torah when it is opened and he leaves. So if in the middle of an aliyah, you should really try to avoid leaving, because the Gemara says that then we'll invoke the pasuk of those who leave God will be destroyed. Oy vey. Hopefully you'll be all right. Rabbi Abo nafik ben gava legava. So Rabbi Abo, if he had to leave, he would leave in between aliyahs, because you always, of course, anybody who's been on the bima, so of course they either close the Sefer Torah or take the the covering and cover the Sefer Torah, so that it should be covered and shouldn't be open. So Rav Papa asks, what about between pasuk and pasuk? So I don't know, if you understand that it means as long as it's open, so as long as as long as it's open, you probably shouldn't be leaving, right? So now, I guess this is the first time that we're seeing in the Gemara over here teku. What does teku mean? So I think traditionally they say that it means tishbi yeshev or yitaretz kushos v'sishbachos. I think like Eliyahu Hanavi will answer kushos v'ibayos, questions and stuff. I don't know if that's just like Babamaisis, or if that's really what it stands for. There was once a question on a test of mine in 7th grade. I'm pretty sure I got it wrong. I think I got in the 70s on that test, but I've since gotten better at Gemara. In any event, the Gemara says teku when it basically puts up its arms and says, I don't know. Usually it's like when you ask a klutz kasha, where it's like a little bit too detailed. We already said don't leave when the Sefer Torah is open. So just like don't leave when the Sefer Torah is open. If you want to leave in between aliyos, fine. In between psukim, I don't know. Can't you just wait till the end of the aliyah? I don't know. Anyways, it could also be that back then, they would do like the targum in between each pasuk. They would read a pasuk and then they would read it in Aramaic, which is actually a great segue into our to the next line of Gemara, which we'll get to obviously in a minute. Rav Sheshes Madar Ape Vigaris. Rav Sheshes would turn away his head and he would actually learn. I'm doing my thing, they're doing their thing, which is super interesting. So like the Sefer Torah would be open, they would be reading from the Torah, and he would just kind of turn away his head, and I guess that would be acceptable, and he would learn. And Rav Shalom Karmi in YU, another class that I think I got in the 70s on, I think that may have been my lowest grade in YU, Baruch Hashem. Anyways, I think he once said about Rabbi Yeshayahu Leibovitz that I think he believed that like praying doesn't actually do anything, but you still have to do it because it's a mitzvah to pray 3 times a day. So like somebody was once curious like what book he was reading while he would what was he reading from a siddur and like actually having kavanah, because after all he says prayer is pointless, and apparently he was learning from a chumash while saying the words. I believe that was the story, which is kind of interesting. So Rav Sheshes also, who is an interesting fellow, he would, I guess, turn away and just learn during Kriyas Torah. Amar Rav Huna, Amar Bar Yehuda, and then there's this like little note that adds Amar Rav Menachem, Amar Rabbi Ami, which makes sense because the previous statement was from Rav Huna Bar Yehuda, Amar Rav Menachem, Amar Rabbi Ami. This is very cool, this next statement. Right? Le'olam yashlim adam parshiyosef matzibur shnai mikra v'chatargum. Boom. Right? If anybody's ever heard of this thing called Shnai Mikra V'Chatargum, which means that every single week we read the Torah portion on our own, we read through the text twice, and then we read it with some kind of translation, whether that's Unkulus, which is Aramaic, or Rashi, or I don't know, maybe you could read it. Some people say you could read it in English, whatever it is. Fine. So every single week, so you should complete your parshiot with the community twice, reading through it, and once with a commentary. I don't know. I wonder why you should have to do it twice. Why isn't it enough to just do it once, read through it, and once a commentary? I don't know. But Bafilo Ataros V'Divon, right? And even Ataros V'Divon. Ataros V'Divon is basically when the Yidden were going to Eretz Yisrael, and the tribes of Reuven and Shimon, was it Reuven, Gad, and Chatzi Shevet Menashe, right? The tribes of Reuven, Gad, and half of Shevet Menashe, they opted to stay Be'ever Yarden, outside of Israel, on the other side of the Yarden. And so they were saying, look, these places, Ataros, V'Divon, and a whole bunch of other places, they are very good grazing land, and we have a lot of livestock, so we would prefer to stay on that part. And Rashi says that these psukim don't actually have any targum, so their own translation is just that. Ataros, V'Divon, there's actually no translation. But if you look in Unkelus in the Torah, there actually is a translation, so there must be a different targum that doesn't translate it. But in any event, it says even those psukim, I guess you just read them in Hebrew, which is why I've also heard that let's say you're doing Rashi, so Rashi isn't necessarily in every single pasuk. So then what you should do is for psukim that don't have Rashi, you should just read the pasuk another time, a third time. But I've also heard that you don't have to do that, and I do it like those people. So. And anyways, because anybody who completes his parshiot with the congregation, we extend his life and his years. And there's actually a note here that changes it from ma'arichin to mashlimin, right? Because then it makes it the same word, right? It's called mashlim, parshiotov, matzibur. So mashlimin lo yamav ushnosav, we fill out his years and his days, which also I think makes more sense because it doesn't really bring proof for any reason why doing Shnai Mikra V'Chatargum should extend your life. But mashlimin, that I can already get. It's a play on words, right? You mashlim, your parshas with the tzibur, so we're also mashlim, we complete your life. Rav Bevei bar Abaye savar la'ashlominu le'parshiyasa d'chula shata b'mala yoma d'kipure. So Rav Bevei bar Abaye, he had a good trick. He thought he would just, on Erev Yom Kippur, he would just do a marathon from, beginning of Berachos through the end of the Torah. He would just all do it on Erev Yom Kippur. Now there is a different girsa, a different text, which says that no, not all the parshas of Kulei Shata, but all the parshas of Chala. That, remember, going back to this Chala thing that's come up a few times in the past few days, this shir that they would have on Shabbos right before the Shalosh Regalim. So I guess he was very busy. He was a rabbi of a community. I guess he was very busy preparing for the shiurim, even a month in advance, I guess, and he would miss a few of the parshas doing Shnai Mikra. So on Erev Yom Kippur, he would make up those parshas. But either way, he would basically just, which is also very interesting because it means that you can be doing it out of order, right? Meaning in before Yom Kippur, he's like making up the parshas from like Nisan, Sounded like everything else he did at the proper time. Okay, very good. Okay, so that implies you don't necessarily, even though we say mashlim parshosav imatzibur, which sounds like ideally you should really do it every single week, it sounds like you can even maybe go out of order and make up stuff later, whatever it is. Now, once we mention Yom Kippur, so we seem to mention this parenthetical thing over here, which is Tana le Chia bar Rav Midifti. So Chia bar Rav Midifti taught, V'nisem es nafshosechem. Oh, this is interesting. I wonder if Chia bar Rav Midifti is actually saying to Rav Bevei bar Abaye. But let's take a look at what this says, and then we could talk about it. Right? V'nisem es nafshosechem b'tisha lachodesh ba'erev. Right? So the pasuk says that you should, afflict your soul on the 9th day of the month of Tishrei, right? Erev Yom Kippur at night. So now the Gemara asks, or Rav, I guess Chia bar Rav Difti quotes or asks, do we fast on the 9th? Everyone knows Yom Kippur is the 10th day. Right? It's famous. Anybody who eats and drinks on the 9th of Tishrei, so the pasuk treats it as if he fasted for 2 days both. You get double points, both for the 9th and the 10th. So it's possible that that this isn't just stam. We mentioned Yom Kippur, so we're going to mention this thing about Yom Kippur, this nice little thing about the mitzvah to eat on Erev Yom Kippur. But it could be that Rav Chia bar Rav Midifti is actually responding to Rav Bevei bar Abaye, who would spend his day on Erev Yom Kippur making up all these parshas of Shnai Mikra that he missed. And maybe Rav Chia bar Rav Midifti was basically saying, what do you mean? Why are you so busy learning? You should be busy eating, because the more you eat on Erev Yom Kippur, it's as if you fast on both the 9th and the 10th. Okay, Savar Latuminu, who's Savar? Who thought? I think maybe it's Rav Bevei bar Abaye, maybe. I don't know. Somebody figured Latuminu, maybe it's Rav Bevei bar Abaye, who's saying, instead of every single year, having to make these up on Erev Yom Kippur, maybe this is exactly what happens. But Rav Chia bar Rav Midifti says to him, you should really be spending Erev Yom Kippur eating and not making up Shnai Mikra. So then Savar Latuminu, so Rav Bevei bar Abaye thought, okay, so maybe I'll just do it earlier in the year. I'll spend 1 or 2 weeks. I'll just do the entire Torah, and then I'll be done with it. It sounds like it was a bit of a headache for me. I always had to kind of make it up later on, right? So Amrle Ha'u Sava, so then Ha'u Sava, which I think is traditionally understood to be Eliyahu Navi, then said to Rav Bevei bar Abaye, Tanina, we learned in a Mishnah. I don't know where this Mishnah is. I don't know, maybe like when you're Eliyahu Navi, so then everything's a Mishnah? I don't know. That you shouldn't really do it before, you shouldn't do it later. So it sounds like you really should ideally be trying to keep up with the congregation and learn that week's Parsha every single week. So we saw yesterday that we saw on the previous page, on the previous Amud, that earlier today, that Rabbi Shimon Levi told his children that get to shul early and stay late. So he also told them 3 other things. He said, so one of them was this thing, that you should do Shnai Mikra v'chatargum every week. V'yizaru b'vridin k'Rabbi Yehuda, and you should be careful with the veins, like Rabbi Yehuda, the Tanan Rabbi Yehuda Omer, ad sheyishchot es havridin, right? That when you shecht a chicken, don't just shecht the esophagus and the trachea, but you should also get all the surrounding veins and arteries and stuff, so that all of the blood, to make sure to get rid of all of the blood. And then lastly, vizaru bizakin sheshachach talmudo, and be very careful how you relate to a elder person, to a zaken who has forgotten what he has learned. Mechamas onso, because of maybe he got sick, or maybe he had to, parnasa really dragged him out and really took a toll on him, right? Or maybe other reasons that took a toll on him. There was a story with Rav Yaakov Yosef, right? I think was that who it was? No, Rav Yitzchak Elchanan, I think, that he came to New York to be like the rabbi there, and I think by the end of his life, he had such a stressful life. No, it was maybe Rav Yaakov Yosef, whoever it was. No, it's probably Rav Yaakov Yosef, I think. He just forgot a lot of stuff, I think. But I could be wrong about that, don't quote me. that in the Aron, right, where they would, the Aron, I don't really know how to define it, the Ark, I guess, they had not only the complete luchos that Moshe Rabbeinu took down with him when he came down from the mountain on the second time, but even the broken luchos were there. So therefore, even somebody who was once, very lofty and amazing, and for whatever reason he has lost, the status that he once had, give him respect, keep that there. It's very interesting to think about that, Luchos v'shivrei luchos menachos ba'aron. Okay, weiter. Amlu Rava livnei. Now this is really funny. So Rava says to his kids, "Kshatem choschin basar, al tachtechu al gav hayad." Isn't that hilarious? Meaning, whereas Rabbi Shimon Levi is telling his kids, get to shul early, do shnayim mikra, in yanim of shchita, of how to respect people who have forgotten the teaching, Rava says, all right, kids, don't be idiots, okay? If you're cutting your meat, don't hold it in one hand and then cut with the other hand, okay? Like, bad idea, don't do it. That's, I guess, the words of wisdom that he imparted on them, which is also cool because you can think about it in the way of like, look, at the end of the day, Rava was also a father. He had to freaking teach his kids life things, Don't, be careful with knives. You know what I mean? Interesting. But anyways, those who say that he advised them this because it's dangerous to cut meat while you're holding it. Those who say it's because it's disgusting, because if you cut yourself, you'll get blood all over everything, and that is gross. Okay, so Rava also had to teach his kids sort of manners, which is good. Honestly, that's super important. People should have manners. And it's super important that we're saying that, Rava got involved in the nitty-gritties, that he taught his children how to act in ways that are mechubad, especially if they're the sons of such a prestigious person like Rava. Okay, fine. Va'al tejvu al mitas aramis. We're going to explain what this means. Don't sit on an Aramean bed. Va'al tavru achorei beis hakneses b'shas hatzibur mispalelin. And as we saw, I believe it was 2 days ago, also don't walk kind of outside of the shul at the time that the congregation is praying. Okay, so the Gemara says, first of the wider lines, don't sit on an Aramean bed. So those who say it means don't go to sleep without first saying Kriya Shema, then it's like you're a guy, And as in, we always make everything a religious experience. We don't eat before making a bracha, but everything we do, so we don't go to sleep before saying Kriya Shema. We don't just go to sleep. Right, so don't make your bed an Aramean bed. Somebody who doesn't act the way that we act. Who just goes right to sleep. No, we take a second. We say Kriya Shema. This is interesting. Those who say it means don't marry a convert. Okay, why not? Aramis mamish. And those who say it actually means like no, don't sit on a bed that belongs to a Aramean, to a non-Jew. Why? This isn't coming out of nowhere. Because there was actually a blood libel that an Aramean woman tried to hold against her papa. So her papa also legabe goya. Her papa had to go visit a non-Jew. Okay. Now I don't know why he was there, but he was. Maybe it was a business. Maybe he was selling her wine or beer or something. Who knows? Hotzia lo mita and Amar lo shev. So maybe it was like a business. Maybe it was there for business. It was a business transaction. She said. So she brought out a match. She said, "Here, have a seat." Right? Amar la. He said to her, "Eini yoshev achitagbi es amite." He says, "Look, I'm not going to sit. First, pick up the bed. I don't want any funny stuff here. Let me make sure that there's nothing under there." Higbi es amite umatsu sham tinok mes. Right? She picked up the bed and they found there a dead baby, and it looked like as if she was trying to set him up for like a blood libel kind of thing, that he sat and killed the baby. That is why the Chacham said don't sit on Aramean beds, because avoid blood libels. Do not pass outside of the shul at the time that the congregation is praying. As we saw the other day, right? The Pasuk in Tehillim says Saviv Risha'in Yisalachun, that around the shul the evil people walk. Don't be that evil person. This taka helps Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, the Amar Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Also, Adam sheyavor achorei beis hakneses b'shah shetzivim mispalin. Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi says that it's forbidden for a person to pass outside of the synagogue when the tzibor is davening. And then, of course, Amar Abai comes Abai, just like Abai said 2 days ago that when we say don't pray outside of the Beit Knesset, he said that's only if your back is facing the shul. So here also he qualifies this statement, right? V'lo amaran ela deleka pischa acharina. That we only say don't pass by the shul, the shul without going in when the tzibur is davening, is if there's no other doors. If there are other doors, then we could just be dan l'kav zchus and say that, give the benefit of the doubt and say that, okay, you're not going in this entrance, but you're for sure going in a different entrance. Also, we only say it if there's no other shuls, but if there's another shul, if there's another shul, then we could just say maybe he's not going to this shul, you prefer to daven at the other shul. So only if he's not carrying something heavy, if he's not running somewhere, or if he's not wearing tefillin. If he's wearing tefillin, then it's a sure sign that he's going to be davening. But if he has even one of these, so then we're going to say it's, this guy's fine, he's davening. Which is interesting also that maybe then we can better understand the statement of Rish Lakish earlier today, where he says that if somebody does, has a shul in his community, doesn't go in, he's called a shachin ra. That might be assuming that the place where people were davening was in shul, and if you have the shul in your community and you don't go, so then you're a bad neighbor. But if there's any excuse to kind of explain, why you might not be going, then already, that kind of falls away. Fine, weiter. Tanya Amar Rabbi Kiva says Rabbi Kiva b'shloshet devarim oev ani madiyim. Right, there are three things that I really respect. I really love the Median people about. When they cut meat, they take it out properly. They put it on a table. They cut it on the table. I guess they don't just cut it while sitting on the ground. They take it out properly. They have respect. When they kiss, they take somebody by the hand and they kiss the person's hand. What I understand from Rashi, it says agav yad es yad chavero hu noshek v'derech chashivus hu zem pnei arok. Right, because of the spit. I don't know, maybe rather than kissing on the mouth, I guess maybe once upon a time when you would see somebody, you would kiss them on the mouth. It sounds a little bit intimate. But in any event, you would kiss them on their hand, or maybe even just on the face or whatever, just you don't want to get somebody spit on your face. I don't know. Fine, weiter. And when they take advice, when they give advice to each other, they go out for a walk, kind of like mafia style. They would go for a walk and have advice give advice in the field. It says Rashi, the Amri Inche Oznaim Lakotel, that the ears somehow have walls. So we have a precedent already here from the Medians for sort of better to take a walk when you want to give advice, especially if it can get you in trouble, I guess. Amar Rav Ada bar Ahava, Mikra, where do we have even a pasuk in the Torah that tells us? As this, Vayishlach Yaakov vayikra l'Rachel v'Leah hasada el. So no, that this was after Yaakov Avinu started getting negative vibes from Lavan and his kids and stuff, and then God came to him and said, "Go back to Israel." So he called for Rachel and Leah to have a little powwow, and he went out to the field. They didn't do it in the tent. Weiter. Tanya Amar Rabbi Gamliel. He says, for three things I love the Persians. They're very private when they eat, which is something that I relate to. They're also very private when they go to the bathroom, right? Because again, if we're going to say that they lived in a time when they would have to go out to the field and go to the bathroom, so you could do that in more of a public way, you could do it more of a private way. So they were more private. They're also more private when it came to intercourse. And Rabbi Gamliel respected them for that. Okay, says the pasuk, Anit tzivisi lemkudashai. So this is a pasuk when it comes to the downfall of, where is this pasuk? This pasuk is in Yeshaya, and it's describing the downfall of Bavel, and how Hashem is going to say to Paras and to Madai and send them to destroy Bavel. And so the pasuk, the Rav Yosef darshans in a little bit of a, it almost sounds like he's kind of responding to certainly Rabbi Gamliel, but maybe you can even argue Rabbi Akiva, although Rav Yosef is a Amora, but he says, anyways, Tani Rav Yosef Elu Aparsiim. These are the Persians that are prepared for hell. Okay, finally, so since Daled, it's been a while since Daled Amud Aleph, we've gone on one long sort of a trip of Agada on talking about which was stemmed off of the Chacham's opinion. Now we're finally getting to look at Rabbi Gamliel's opinion in the Mishnah. Rabbi Gamliel Omer v'chulei. His, of course, was that you can read Kriyash Matil Alos HaShachar. Amar Yehuda Amar Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Gamliel. Says of Yehuda Amar Shmuel that halacha is like Rabbi Gamliel, although the Rambam doesn't seem to pass in that way. Tani, we learn in a Brisa. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai Omer. Okay, said it. Anyways, so we learn in a Brisa. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says, Pa'amim sha'adim korei Kriyash Ma shtei pa'amim balayla. It's possible to read Kriyash Ma twice during the nighttime. Achas kodem shala Amar HaShachar, achas le'achar shala Amar HaShachar. Once before dawn and once after dawn, which is interesting that we're considering after dawn to be nighttime. And you could be Yotze your Kriya Shema for both the day and the night. So when you read Kriya Shema right before dawn, you'll be Yotze for Kriya Shema Shalayla. And when you read Kriya Shema after dawn, so you'll be Yotze Kriya Shema of the day. Which sounds like Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai and Rabbi Gamliel seem to be of the same opinion that you could read Kriya Shema until Alos HaShachar. Now the Gemara says, Agufa Kasha. This is inherently problematic. On the one hand, you said that there are times you could read Kriya Shema 2 times during the night. And then we say before Amud HaShachar and after Amud HaShachar. Amud HaShachar Leil Yehu, which means that after Amud HaShachar is still considered night until sunrise, until Henei Tzacham. That up until Henei Tzacham it's still considered night. And then you said, but then you said that, but your Yotze, your Kriya Shema, Chiyuv of Kriya Shema, not just for night, but also during the day. Which means that it's the daytime. So like what's Pshat? If you're reading it twice at night, well then that means that after Amud HaShachar is night. And if you're saying, but your Yotze for Kriya Shema of the day, well then wouldn't it mean that it's day? So lo, it doesn't mean that it's day. Le'olam Lailahu. Really after Amud HaShachar, according to Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, is still nighttime. So why do we call it Yom? Because there are people who are getting up at that time. Because of course, the chiyuv to read Kriya Shema is not during the night and during the day. The chiyuv to read Kriya Shema is that when people are lying down and when people are getting up. So therefore, if people are getting up after Amud HaShachar, even though technically speaking it's still nighttime until Henei Tzacham, until sunrise, nonetheless you could read Kriya Shema still because people are already getting up. Okay, Amar Ravacha bar Chanina, Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi, Halacha Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai, the Halacha Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai. What is the nafkamina between Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai? They both seem to be saying the same thing, that you could Kriya Shema until Alos HaShachar. I think that the nafkamina might be is that Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai seems to be considering that after Alos HaShachar is still nighttime. Maybe Rabbi Gamliel would disagree and say that after Alos HaShachar is already daytime. Shkoyach to everybody. Thanks for holding cup. These pages have been quite long, jam-packed. I hope that you've been enjoying. Awesome. Cheers, y'all. Have a good one.